Hi, welcome back to the OHMazing Way podcast. I'm Beth Reese, and I'm here today with the awesome sauce, Athea Davis Rubin. So grateful for having you here today and for just the generosity of your time, really not just with me today, with me always, and all of the great work that you are doing out and about in the world. And so in the second half, we're going to hear more about that. And to kick us off, Athea is going to share with us some of her favorite mindfulness practices.
All right. Well, I'm excited about this one because, I love to share tools with people so they, find themselves in these moments of whether it be stress or overwhelm or just, they're trying to shift and get out of a funk and they're wondering what they can do. So I'm huge on words. Palabras, love words, love language. And so, Beth, I have this card deck. Today's going to be awesome sauce.
Love it.
Heart and affirmation card deck for youth, parents, and educators. And it just happened to be that maybe you can you see the lighting okay? This is the sun and the moon card. And I love art and I love words. And so on the back, there's an affirmation and it says, welcome and acknowledge the differences, or welcome and acknowledge differences with kindness. And so, oftentimes it's as easy as, and hard sometimes, but as easy as, especially in transition moments. So I want to focus on using this in transition moments because transition moments meaning like if you're coming home to a space with your family or you're home and your family's coming in or you're going into a new space. And before you get out of the car, before you enter that space, taking a moment to just do a basic mindful breath, which is a long, slow, deep inhale through the nose, and then exhale, long, slow, deep breath out of the mouth. Doing a few rounds of those and using an affirmation such as, like the sun and the moon card, welcome and acknowledge the differences with kindness, how you would do that if you were by yourself, and there are tons of these types of tools out on the market. I particularly like mine. Today's going to be awesome sauce. That either you carry these around in your bag or you place them on your desk, or you can take a picture, put them on your phone, and then you pull it up. And then you say those words silently to yourself. And I like to start off by saying, I will welcome and acknowledge the differences with kindness. And I'll do a few breaths that way. And then I will then extend it out. You will acknowledge the differences with kindness. And then we will acknowledge the differences with kindness. So it helps me stay connected to not just who I am as a person and who I'm trying to become in that moment and would like to cultivate and generate in that moment, but also those that I'm connecting with. Does that make sense when I say I, you, and we? So we can do that together in community. It reminds me that I don't do this on my own, that it matters how I show up, and how I show up is going to impact whoever it is I'm communicating with. So I love using affirmation. So I want to give that one to listeners. And if you don't have cards, we'll get you some cards. And there's tons of options to choose from. And you can just search affirmations, Affirmations can be anything as simple as, I am joy. That could be something you want to really, really invite into that moment, whatever it is you want to cultivate. And this one is really good because we were talking about superhero love, right? And sometimes there's a lot of friction in superhero love. It's like bringing different worlds together, helping each other understand. So you've got to cultivate and focus. You know what? I must acknowledge the differences with love and kindness. I mean, if I'm going to be mindful about this, if I'm going to add that flair of superhero love to it, then I've got to declare it, I've got to say it, right? So that's one. And my favorite one lately, and I've been practicing this for a while, is mindful walking.
Love that.
There's a lot of different ways to do mindful walking. You can do very slow, intentional mindful walking, where your shoes are off and you're feeling, each step. But I'm just talking about something easy, accessible, no headphones, no phone, no music, no podcasts at this time, because I love walking with my podcasts and listening. But for this purpose, make sure to plan some time, just unplug, go out in nature, wherever you can. And even if you have like 2 minutes, you can walk, circles around your car. Like, it makes a difference because you're getting outside, you're connecting to the natural world, you're getting some sunlight, and you're just unplugging from it all. And you're just there noticing your thoughts with the intention of coming back to your breath and just kind of letting your mind freely wander. And in fact, a lot of times, a lot of connections, emotional shifts can be made during mindful walks. I mean, it's been a huge tool in my practice for many years, especially for like educators and leaders that have like a lot going on in their day. Sometimes you can't get away for long periods of time, but you can be intentional with getting outside for a few minutes, and those few minutes can have a big impact in how you relate to others. So I wanted to offer those two.
I love that. And something I often hear people talking about is using the word to resource yourself. And that idea of, if we think about, nature being a big source, and the universe and the planet, we could, go really far out there and get really woo-woo, but just to keep really grounded, what you're speaking to is this idea of helping us resource, come again back to the moment, our body, a space, just really get reconnected and even create who we're going to be in that next moment. So I could even see, after resourcing with a mindful walk, to take an affirmation card from Athea's deck and like come back in and like really even connect those experiences. When I was head of a school, I created what I call threshold mindfulness. And every time I walked in and out of a doorway, I would be taking mindful breaths, as Athea was talking about, and really setting my intention that, whatever I was going to encounter, whether it was going to be the most beautiful, painting in the world, or someone who was maybe injured, I was going to create that I was going to be fully present, and whatever was, happening in my office could stay in the office, sort of things. So those are such practical ways, again, to drop in, resource ourselves.
And you can even put them on Post-its. Like, I just did this the other day. I have one when I walk into the house. It's connect before correct. And just to remind myself to connect before correct. And I put one on the door before I enter the house, and I have one on the refrigerator, because, even though we can know that intellectually, having those reminders in space, and you may put it in a different space, right? But even you don't have to go out, you don't have to go buy my cards or anyone else's. You can just put on a Post-it, whatever it is that you want to cultivate in that moment. Maybe it's joy. Maybe you do want to create connection. And so those little reminders are just, perfect. And you can also do it on your phone. You can program it in your calendar and put the affirmation in there for certain times during your day. I do this as well. So I guess maybe this is a third one. But because we do have a new relationship with technology in our phones, to use it in a way that can cultivate this. And so put those reminders in your phone, so you can look down and it says, I am joy, or, connect before you correct, to give yourself that reminder. Yeah. So
I love those. And I love Post-its. Post-its and putting them around also remind me of your Love Ninja.
Yes. Yeah, the Post-its. I know.
So great. Yeah. So Athea, you are you're getting ready to launch a big program. Yes. You've had a program already, Mindful Living, and your podcast. Yes. And then you're about to embark on another major opportunity at a school. Would you share those with us?
Yes. Oh my gosh, so exciting. So I'm so excited about all these things. Let's see where to start. We'll start with Mindfulness Education University for educators. It is a digital platform, what I call comprehensive one-stop for all your mindfully infused social emotional learning needs. So that's launching in September 16th. It's a 7-week digital program. You get an entire social emotional learning curriculum. This is based for educators in the school for them to relay many of these practices and teach many of these practices to the students. However, in order to take on that journey, it's also created in a way that they take on these practices. So they're in the course. They have me on video and me on audio, guiding them through 5 modules that I have: emotions, habits, relationship, the environment, and service and leadership. And within each of those modules, we have lessons, and then lessons that you can use for the classroom. And it's really organized using something I call a developmental quadrant guide, which uses the 4 quadrants of human development, using the physical plane, the cognitive and thinking plane, social emotional learning plane, and awareness. And it incorporates all those developmental skills within lessons within the classroom. But you know what, my educators listening out there, I know you're busy, so that may sound like, wait a minute, I can't do all this stuff. So there's also another tool within that program called Mindful Action Plan, something I call Map It. And it's just a way to seamlessly integrate some of these tools in what you're already doing. So you can go as far as you want, or not so much. You're on your own journey, but educators go through the program through the 7 weeks. You get all those resources, guided meditations, visualizations, and in fact, this is so true. I'm actually recording a mindful hip hop song as we speak, which is super exciting. It's called Piecing Out Slow. And another one that will be recorded called We're Gonna Have a Hip Hop Happening Good Time. So you get those songs as well. And you get me live every week during the course. So as you're taking on this work and these new concepts and practices, you're going to hit bumps in the road. You will. That's what happens. And you get me to troubleshoot those issues. And so that's kind of like Mindfulness Education University for educators in a nutshell.
That is awesome.
Thank
awesome,
you.
Awesome. I'm so excited and proud for you and the work. And I so acknowledge you, Athea, for really your commitment to mindfulness and for educators. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, I guess, what is it, June? I keep forgetting times here, but going back to January, I launched my first personal leadership course. This is really designed for leaders, called 9 to Shine. And it's a free mindful living masterclass. And I launch it 2 times a year, once in January and once in May. So I know it's June, but you can come back in January and join. But we take 9 days, and in 9 steps, we look at taking on a goal that we want to work on. It could be a mindfulness goal. It could be a health goal, whatever goal. And it doesn't have to be like super huge. It could be, I just want, more loving relationship with my partner. I want a more loving relationship, with my kids, or, I want to learn, new language, whatever it is for you. And we put mindfulness in practice and action, because we use mindfulness as the foundation, but we put it in practice and action in the program called 9 to Shine. So that's been exciting, and I've had some amazing feedback doing that. I mean, and ultimately that will be another course offering, but there's only, so much we can do in any given day, but the free course does exist and is available in January. And as you said, I have my podcast, Mindful Living with Athea Davis. So it's been all exciting and fun stuff to grow and teach and learn and communicate and be out there spreading the, awesome sauce here, there, and everywhere.
Absolutely. And so, Athea, do you sleep?
I do. I
know you do.
I do. I'm actually, and I say this, and I don't know if you noticed, I was up later last night. I'm usually not, because I thought, I'm going to say I do sleep, and I sent Beth an email really late last night, and I'm usually not up that late, but sometimes that happens, but I'm really, really intentional about getting my sleep, because when I don't get my sleep, I get sick and I can't keep doing this work, and it spins things out of control and your brain doesn't function well. But yeah, I'm really, really intentional about getting enough sleep, for sure.
I figured that, but I was just sort of teasing you because just and again, all that you've created, it's a lot of work and just a beautiful offering. And I will certainly do what I can to share with listeners and people in social media the launch September 16th. Got that in my head.
Yes.
And yes, the Nine to Shine, also really such a beautiful offering.
Thank you.
Well, Athea, in fact, I'd love to have you come back another time and share more about this, your work with us, and more tips. So beautiful. So for those of you listening, take on and practice these tips Athea has shared, and, pay forward, share to other people what you're enjoying, share the podcast, check out Athea's podcast and her work. And Athea, thank you again for your generosity of time and energy and being here, and big hugs to Kane and your family. And
Yes.
I would love to have you come back.
Thank you so much. It's been so much fun, and always fun, to connect and talk to you. And I would love to come back. And thank you for doing this work on, the OHMazing Way podcast. So love you and love what you're doing.
Thanks.
Always.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.
Well, all right, everybody. Take care. And as always, be amazing. See you next time.